All right. So Teresa had a dog, and let me describe to you this dog's behavior. This dog would, if it sees you, it's gonna come running up, and it's gonna be, wagging its tail, uh, as dogs do, right? But if you do not respond, then this dog's going to get closer to you and closer, and eventually it's gonna jump up on 2 feet and put its paws on you. And if you do not continue to respond, eventually this dog's gonna put his face up against yours. um, so in other words, this is dominating behavior, right? And so what I would do is I'd sit there and I'd just ignore the dog as he tried to do this to me. And if he tried to get up on me, I'd push him aside, right? And what was amazing was, eventually he'd give up. But right before he gave up, he would pretend to sneeze, and he'd sneeze all over my lap, right? So he was snotting me in disgust. Um, if you fed the dog food, right, the dog wouldn't eat it. He would inhale that food and then want more. No matter how much food you gave it, he would want more and more and more, and he wouldn't eat it at all. It was just like an inhale. There was hardly any chews. Um, and so this is the same thing this dog is doing when it approaches you. Like, this dog wants a massage, right? That's what we do when we pet a dog. We just how here's a free massage, dog. Um, this dog is carnal. It is completely carnal. Um, if where the fuck is my lighter, man? Shit. Oh, there it is. Okay. Like, if we were ever home and a thief or a murderer came into our home, this dog would not bark at all or attack this threat. It would do the same thing. It would come up to the murderer and wag its tail, and um, I mean, this dog was displaying what we would call narcissistic, selfish behaviors. And I mean, there are dogs out there, right? This is why dogs have individual personalities, or animals do. But there are some dogs out there that are actually excited to see you, and they're actually happy to see you. And these are more loving dogs, but they're respectful, right? There's a respect there, and they can be playful, but still respectful. But like, I saw this one dog mother, and she had all these dog puppies, and she wanted to wean all her puppies, right? And so um, and all the puppies were successfully weaned, right? Because she said no more, and they respected her for that. But she had one puppy that didn't want to be weaned, and this puppy kept trying to force himself on his mother. And so what she does is she grabs him with her mouth and slams his head into the ground, right? And keeps his head into the ground until he submits. Um, I mean, some animals lack respect. And so a more loving dog that's actually excited to see you is a dog that respects you. This is But yeah, no, I mean, one of the amazing things to me is just like, it's like I'm the only one who sees this dog's behavior. It's crazy. Um, I mean, we don't think about animal behavior or human behavior, right? Because like we go back to the story where I was living on the streets and somebody would drive by and say, "Hey, get a job," right? And so it's like, I mean, we from a very young age are sent to these systems that train us, right? There's this idea of Pavlov's dogs, right? And what you do is um, you give. I think you know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like you give a dog a treat every time it does a certain behavior, um, and the dog starts to salivate and want that treat and want that treat. I mean, the modern educational system is doesn't educate you. You know, an education should empower you. The modern educational system is really just about training good workers and good citizens. It's an obedience system, right? So a lot of these guys who are driving by, you know, are just like really successful in this obedience system. Like they're responsible and they're doing what they need to do, right? Um, and I'm the bum, and because I'm not working, you know. But I was making stories, you know. So these guys were bearing false witness against me, right? Um, they look at my costume and they judge me, right? More bad behavior. So a lot of these guys who are going to be driving by yelling this stuff, it's like they're very successful in this obedience system. Or not very successful, you know, probably middle class, but they work, you know, they pride themselves in what Moses would call toil and drudgery, right? But that's what the obedience system does. It humiliates you. And so, I mean, a lot of these guys are substantively pathetic creatures. But what's funny is that they're like, if their dog is a narcissist, right? I mean, a lot of these guys aren't going to have really anybody in their lives. And if they do, they're going to be putting on false faces, you know, in order to get something from this person, you know. The toil and drudgery person is going to have a lot of things. And, but it's funny because a lot of these guys are going to be going home to a dog that doesn't give a shit about them, right? And he's like telling me to get a job, but what about these dogs, right? Oh my God. Um, but anyways, so like going back to like let's talk about packs. Okay, let's talk about packs because I was talking about it a little bit about it before in that other video, and I was talking about dog pats, and I've seen cat packs, videos of cat packs online, right? And it's like I can see a distinction, you know. Like dogs, I mean, tend to be very cowardly creatures, and so the pack of dog packs, and even wolf packs, a lot of them are these, you know, cowardly creatures that they're only strong when there's another dog around, right? You can even see this amongst some humans. Like some man is going to act all tough, but he only feels tough when there's another man around, right? One of his men, right? Um, Now that's not true of all dogs, though, because there's like just some awesome dogs, and I use that word with weight, awesome, right? And these dogs, like, they'll only attack if the child is threatened. Like if this child is threatened, boom, then they go on the attack. And those dogs are strong and powerful as individuals, right? um, but I mean, that's the thing about these cat packs. It's like as each of these cats are walking along, you can tell that each of these cats is a badass, right? And so there's this distinction between, a bunch of chihuahuas trying to intimidate you, and these dogs. Oh, anyways, I am tired. I think I'm done for the day.